come in here and they get a little frightened of this dome because of the conditions?
Well, I think so, because it's been some crucial plays since I've been here, since 1984, that guys have missed pop-ups, and, you know, little things happen. And I think guys are a little weary of that. They come in, they go, oh, man, hope the balls will come to me. I know the outfielders are going, don't hit it to me, don't hit it to me. But I think teams are really weary of coming in here, though.
How can you win this thing?
I really don't know. I think that if we play the way we've been playing, I think we'll be okay.
Kirby, our thanks to you. Good luck.
All right.
It's quite a thrill for you. The fans are looking forward to seeing you in the Minnesota Twins all over the country.
All right. Thanks, Paul.
We'll be back after these messages.
Classic Twins on MSC is brought to you by the Star Tribune, the Minnesota Twins, and MSC, your Minnesota Twins connection.
Next.
That's different.
Happens every day.
The Minnesota State Lottery. Don't forget to have some fun.
You are getting sleepy. Very sleepy. Sleepy. When you need tires, you will have a better experience. You will deal with good people. When I snap my fingers, you will open your eyes.
Frank Viola, at age 27, a native of Long Island, set to go to work, pitched at St. John's. In the last 4 seasons, he's won 18, 18, 16, and then this year's 17. That 2.90 ERA, second in the American League, behind Jimmy Key's 2.76 for Toronto. Whitaker to start it. Breaking ball wrapped down to first. Herbeck alone, 1 out. Now it'll be Madlock, a key man for Sparky Anderson. Against left-handers this year, the Tigers are just 2 over 500. They're 71 and 39 against right-handers, so they don't have that much strong right-handed hitting. They got Madlock and Morrison after the start of the season to bolster themselves in that area. Fastball foul back.
And remember that Madlock has gotten those 50 RBIs in just over 70 ball games, so he's been a big plus from the right side. Viola, perhaps, next to Mark Langston of Seattle, has the best raw stuff among any left-hander in the American League, including Higuera, Key, Lee Brandt, and even Bruce Hurst.
He's ahead of the 4-time batting champion, 0-2. And it dips low. The plate up is Joe Brinkman. Durwood Merrill at first, Drew Coble at second, Al Clark at third, right field line manned by Jim McKean, left field line Mike Riley. The 1-2. Inside, 2-2.
And you can see how hard Viola is capable of throwing. In the 90s at times, has come up with a great circle change similar to what Doyle Alexander throws, and will use it many times deep in the count, even 3-1 and 3-2.
And now it's full.
He is throwing hard.
And of course, if he's humming like that with the fastball, it'll make the great straight change all the more effective.
Has a good curve. Sometimes he has trouble with it getting over the plate. And he can come out throwing as hard as he can now because they've got Reardon at the end, which is a plus for this team.
He got him. Two out, nobody on, top half of the first. And here's the MVP of the '84 League Championship Series, Kirk Gibson. He had .417 in a 3-game sweep of Kansas City. Then went on to hit .333 against the Padres in the World Series with 2 homers.
Kirk Gibson appears, Bob, since that 3-game series in Detroit, like he's moved off the plate against left-handed pitchers. He wasn't that far off the plate. So he's maybe going to go into the ball and hit the ball straight away or to left field off Viola, or at least try to. I don't know why he'd want to do that, though, with that short porch in right field here.
Unlike most new parks, the Metrodome is asymmetrical. 327 down the right field line, 343 to left. Got in on him and blew it past him.
Far away to center. There's that tall canvas in right. Wasn't there the first year it was here. They put it up because of so many ground rule doubles. Still very attractive in right field.
Boy, is he throwing hard. 2-2. This might be adrenaline. That can put a couple extra miles per hour on your fastball.
And sometimes the adrenaline this early pumps too hard and you throw yourself out. But again, they know Reardon's there for the 8th and 9th, something they didn't have last year or the year before. They do not have to pace themselves and save anything for the last couple of innings. Not anymore with this Twins pitching staff.
Blew him away. Viola fans 2 in the first. And we'll be back.
The winner of this year's American League Rolaids Relief Man Award for the 2nd season in a row, Dave Righetti. Presenting the award, John Walsh, president of American Chicle, makers of Rolaids.
Thanks, Mel. Rolaids never forgets what relief means, so we're proud to recognize the league's top relief man with this award. This year, once again, Rolaids spells relief, Dave Righetti.
Thanks, John. And thank you to Rolaids. And I also like to thank everyone for helping me throughout the season.
I love my job.
Oktoberfest celebrations require a very special beer. Shell's Oktoberfest is a rich, crowd-pleasing lager that's only available for a limited time.
Did I say I really love my job?
Shell's, the legend continues. One bottle at a time.
Bigger and better sections coming your way. Star Tribune, a variety of sections for a variety of people.
37-year-old Doyle Alexander, apparently uninspired with the Braves. Now turn the page and look at what he did with the Detroit Tigers. They also won 2 other games he started where he was not involved in the decision. He pitched 3 complete game shutouts, including one at Fenway, where he retired 26 of 27 after a couple of first-inning hits by the Red Sox. He combined with Mike Henneman for 2 more shutouts and had a game in the last week against Toronto where he went 10 2/3 at Toronto. He has been all but unhittable.
He just gave the sign to his catcher, Mike Heath, that he's going to just show those Twins hitter the knuckleball as they watch from the side. He may throw a few during the ball game. He's a masterful technician. Very concerned about mechanics, as is the great Tom Seaver. Changing the arm angle. Draws that line for his pivot front foot straight toward home plate, so he steps in the precise spot every time. Great changeup. Sneakier than you think with that fastball.
He'll get the fastball up to 87-88, but mix it in with all the off-speed breaking stuff he can throw with pinpoint control. It looks faster.
Somebody asked if experience will mean anything. 19 of 24 of the Tigers have been in postseason play. Sparky advantage. Where the might come in is Doyle Alexander against a free-swinging ball club. And Joe Brinkman was the umpire in the Toronto game, the last game that Doyle pitched against Toronto. And the farther those guys swung at the pitch, the farther out he moved. And he played Brinkman and he played the hitters.
Here's Gladden. Breaking ball toward the hole and a diving play by Brookins. He throws him out. Terrific play by Brookins to open the last half of the first.
Playing it in front of the bag for Gladden because Gladden has the most pure speed on this ball club. Well off the line because Alexander likes almost everyone to play defensively straight away. He wants them to hit the ball to the big part of the ballpark, center field. Brookins missed the final game of the season against Toronto. He was in a hospital with a bad virus. Still a little bit ailing. He just makes a tremendous play on the turf.
That brings up Gagne, who had an 0 for 30 dive in late August, early September that spoiled his batting average, but he had a fairly productive season with the bat. Floats one up there high. Alexander has been traded 7 times, been a free agent twice, released once. He's seen it all in a long big league career. Comes sidearm for a strike.
And right there you saw the sidearm fastball that was right near the outer edge. And if Brinkman gives Alexander that pitch, as he goes along with his series of pitches, Heath will move farther outside and keep testing Joe Brinkman to see what he'll give him.
One and 2. Alexander is very blunt. When you ask him about all the different teams he's pitched for, he said, hey, I have no loyalty. I'm loyal to whoever pays me.
He's gotten traded more often than not because of his lack of ability, because he's a Maverick.
And there's his first strikeout. Came sidearm with some kind of dipping breaking ball, and he had Gagne completely fooled.
Sparky, since about a month into the season, and really for the benefit of young catcher Matt Noakes, but with Heath coming back over from the National League, he charts every pitch as what series.
All right, here he is. They list him at 5'8" and 220. Guy is built like a bowling ball. And he takes a strike. Kirby is 26 years old. You saw the power numbers with the 20. Kirby for the Supreme Court.
I thought he's running for governor with Bernansky as campaign manager.
You saw his power numbers. You know, coming into last season, he had 4 lifetime homers and over 1,200 at-bats. This one is out of play. Then last year, he explodes for 31 homers, and this year tacks on 28.
Well, everybody knows by now, just look at the body. He was into weightlifting. The smallest kid on the block, and he was expected to be a leadoff hitter. Hit the ball on the ground and run like heck and hit for singles until Tony Oliva got hold of him before last year.
0-2 pitch in the dirt.
This Twins team does not like to take a lot of base on balls. Bernansky and Herbeck will take some, but most of the team is a free swinging ball club, and that's why in Alexander, with all the different arm angles, change of speeds, if they want to get themselves out, he won't throw them strikes.
2-2 to Kirby Puckett with Kent Herbeck on deck. He struck him out. So both Viola and Alexander fan 2 in the first. To the top of the second we go, and we'll return to the Metrodome in a minute.
We're ready. We're just adding a few finishing touches. But when you're working with natural perfection, there's not a lot to do. So come play at our place this season. The new Legacy Courses at Craigens, in the Brainerd Lakes area. 18 holes of championship golf, set in a spectacular environmental sanctuary. We've even invited a few special friends to welcome you. The Legacy Courses at Craigens, Minnesota's most natural environment for golf.
Hi, I'm Mike. That's Bob. We're both setting up tee times. Bob is calling around with just a little frustration, you see. He doesn't know about TeeMaster, where you can make tee times 24 hours a day online at teemaster.com. Plus, I get maps, course information, and even current weather. It's free, so spend more time making reservations or more time playing. teemaster.com. Your next game is just a click away. Or call today. Life is tough. Making a tee time shouldn't be.
When you're smiling, smiling, when you're smiling, smiling, the whole world smiles with you. When you're laughing, the sun comes shining through, shining through, smiling.
Major cleaning, damage control. The furnace repair people left grease all over my carpet. Should have called the Rheem team. Who? Rheem team, heating service pros. Put floor protectors over their shoes when they arrive and did a great job at a fair price. You're kidding. Vacuumed up too. Oh, I love that.
In the northern suburbs, call Rycar Heating and Air Conditioning at 612-754-4000.
We will impress you when you make that call to the Rheem team.
Frank Viola's brother John is scheduled to get married on October 17th, and Frankie's supposed to be the best man. That's also the day the World Series opens. So if Viola pitches well against the Tigers, he might have to miss the wedding.
That sign you saw on the split screen, it was in the right field corner. Frank Viola's begun leaving tickets for the young man who printed it because he is 15-0 with that sign hanging out there, so the man says.
A strike to Trammell. The PA man described Trammell as the odds-on favorite for the American League MVP award. It's going to be very close between Trammell and George Bell, and probably Puckett of Minnesota will finish third. Up in his eyes, and he grounds it down to third. Gaetti, who won a Gold Glove last year, throws him out.
We have a chance to see some outstanding defensive play by the Minnesota Twins at the corners. You talked about Gaetti's Gold Glove. He has terrific range to his right, can be acrobatic. And when you relook at Gaetti and Herbeck, who's also outstanding, there are very few teams in the major leagues have that kind of strength defensively at the corners. I guess you'd have to go to Tim Wallach and Andres Galarraga with Montreal, the big cat at first base. So they are outstanding, and they play this turf well.
Herndon, whose homer on Sunday finished the Blue Jays, takes a strike. Platoons now in right field with Pat Sheridan, starting against the left-hander. Just low.
That will be interesting, Bob, and Sparky Anderson has not yet said, because at the end of the year, Scott Lusader, the kid who was not eligible for postseason play, was platooning with Herndon. After the home run, it was Sheridan slumping at the end. Perhaps Herndon will play against all kinds of pitching.
Here's a fastball and a towering fly ball toward the right field line. And Bernansky for the catch.
And you will notice Minnesota outfielders and infielders do not take their eye off the ball. It is not as bad as it was 2 years ago. They've added extra lighting. You see visiting players come in, they find the ball off the bat, pick a spot to run to, and they can no longer find the ball. But these Twins players, since the speakers you see, they put additional lights 2 years ago to take some of the shadows away. It has helped defensively on pop-ups, but still can be a problem at times.
They also changed the turf 2 years ago. It is not nearly as springy as it used to be. You'll still get AstroTurf extra base hits as you would in Toronto or at the Kingdome or in St. Louis. But it used to be a travesty here. It's improved somewhat. Lemon takes a change for a strike.
That's what Dick Such, the Twins pitching coach, has worked long and hard with Viola. Change speeds on your curveball. Do different things with your fastball. There he just ran and sunk the fastball away instead of coming in with the real hard one he threw in the first inning.
Now he's got the one he wants, and the 1-1 pitch is a fastball right at the letters, and Lemon swings late.
They are underdogs, but Viola and Blyleven pitching tomorrow, very capable of shutting out any team in baseball on any given day. And those games are won or lost on that 16-foot dirt surface out there more often than not.
One and two. Viola got 2 strikeouts in the first. And here's a bouncer up the middle. Lombardozzi won't get it. And that's the game's first base hit.
Grammas, the third base coach for the Tigers, will not try too many things, nor will these base runners like Lemon on the center field arm of Puckett. Grammas knows it's a fast surface. Puckett has great hands, not on ground balls and fly balls. One of the strongest, most accurate arms. So Trzaskowski and Grammas, the first and third base coaches, will not run a whole lot on Puckett's arm.
And the continuing marvel, Darrell Evans steps in, 34 homers at the age of 40. Ball one.
Just another one of the reasons I love to throw left-handers against the Tigers. Evans' bat, Whitaker's bat, get Matt Noakes, the rookie sensation, bat out of there. And, of course, Kirk Gibson's left-handed bat also.
Lemon is back. Take a look at Gaetti over at third base. He's given Evans all of the line over toward the shortstop's position. Meanwhile, Gagney's practically back of second. Here's a long drive that is hooking foul. It had more than home run distance.
Who says a 40-year-old's bat speed has to slow down? Advanced scouting reports will still tell you, unless you get the ball belt-high and up and in on Evans with something on it, he can still get around and pull almost anybody's fastball, especially if it's down in that area. Outstanding low ball hitter. As hard as Viola's throwing, they're still playing way around to pull for him.
Gladden way off the line and left. 1-2.
Bob, is it me, or is there about as much din as I've ever heard in the ballpark? It isn't closed, and the sound doesn't go out in the open air, but the fans here are just fantastic to open this game here for the ALCS.
They are psyched up, but good.
50,000 plus.
The 1-2 pitch. And it holds there. As a traditionalist, and I know you're one too, Tony, you can't like dome stadiums, but one thing you have to say, you go to a football game when the Seahawks play, or baseball last year in the playoffs, the Astros and Mets, or the atmosphere here, it can really get to a fever pitch.
Already has, and only in game one.
It's a home field advantage, almost like a basketball game in that sense. Another 1-2 pitch.
There is something, inexperience of the Twins pitchers and the youth of this team could subconsciously affect an umpire. Doyle Alexander, experience, known as a control pitcher, may get more of the outside corner. That pitch, like it was right on the edge to Evans, and the call, as Viola really was walking to the dugout, went to Evans. Of course, Evans has walked 100 times this year. That makes a difference also.
And he struck him out. That's 3 for Viola. No runs a hit. A man is left to the last of the second. No score in Minneapolis.
All I do is dream of you the whole night through. With the dawn I still go on and dream of you. You're every thought, you're everything, you're every song I ever sing.
For those who must design trucks to compete with Dodge Ram, there is no rest.
All I do is dream of you.
All-American Recreation, all we sell is fun.
Fun is what you'll have with your own elegant, handcrafted All-American pool table, manufactured right here in the Twin Cities. Fun enjoying a relaxing artesian spa, over 100 spas in stock. Fun playing foosball, air hockey, and darts. Fun furnishing your home with bars and bar stools, largest selection in the Midwest. Fun relaxing in an aquatic whirlpool bathtub. Save 30% on tanning beds.
All-American Recreation, all we sell is fun.
That fence is only 7 feet high, and that allows Kirby Puckett to get back there. And though he's only 5'8", he can dunk a basketball. He's able to leap up over that and pull potential home runs back. And then the blue monster out there in right field. With the canvas, it's 23 feet high and just 327 down the line.
It's called a curtain. Some derisively have called it a hefty bag. You know, Bob, with the old turf and with the conditions before, a condition where the ball made it more bouncy and traveled farther, there was like 1 or 2 ground rule doubles every single series of the year. This year, there are 15 or 16 ground rule doubles because of the turf, of course, not as lively. Here's the man they're going to want to pitch around, the right-handed pitchers, and it's all right-handed pitchers scheduled at this point for Sparky Anderson the first 3 games starting.
And he might not use Tanana in game 4. That's fouled off to the left and out of play.
You can see the little auxiliary boxes there, and that gives less foul territory for the third and first baseman.
Outside 1-1. If that's an advantage for anybody, probably the Tigers, because Hrbek, the younger man, very agile despite his great size, is terrific at going down the line on foul pops. Evans at 40 wouldn't be as good. Inside 2-1.
Alexander, a couple of hard pitches inside trying to straighten Hrbek up in that crouch. Hrbek, the man who used to change his stance every time he had an offer. Now he's in that crouch with the bat on his shoulder, almost like Don Mattingly.
Adam fooled on that one, 2-2. What's the old Warren Spahn quote? Hitting is timing. Pitching is upsetting timing. If anybody understands that, it's Doyle Alexander.
Doyle not sure of the count, I believe, wants to make sure.
It's 2-2. Down the left field line, racing over Gibson into foul ground for the catch in the bullpen.
This staff and the Minnesota Twins are predominantly right-handed hitting. Bush is in there today, and of course Hrbek will just find out. But Alexander, Morris pitching tomorrow, and Terrell first game have a tremendous facility to prevent left-handed hitters getting the ball in the air to right field. They run the fastball away. When they come inside bad. And it's awfully difficult to pull these guys when they're right, no matter how strong you are, and even if you're a natural pull hitter.
Gaetti takes a ball. He's the first Twin to drive in over 100 in consecutive years since Harmon Killebrew in 1970 and 71.
You just saw another example of what Doyle Alexander means when he changes the arm angle. Tom Kelly spent a lot of time playing baseball. His father managed in the semi-pro league here, and that's how he got to know Minnesota people. The youngest manager in the majors, Andy MacPhail, from a long line of MacPhails. A great fan of Kelly's, and boy, he's really made a difference along with Reardon with his club.
That's fouled out of play. Andy MacPhail is the 34-year-old general manager who has teamed with Kelly to take them not only to their first winning season since 1979, but all the way to the top of the American League West. 1-2.
There he goes, playing with the outside corner again. And that's really why you see this kind of defense. Brookins off the line, even for pretty much a pull hitter in Gaetti. Trammell playing straight away, as is the center fielder. But Doyle, when he first came to the ball club, told Sparky in the first pitchers meeting and catchers meeting, he said, I want all my guys against everybody to play straight away. I want to make them into the long part of the ballpark.
Randy Bush on deck. And here's a long high drive. Dead center. Lemon back. It's gone. Check swing roller down to Brookins. And he throws over to first to quiet the crowd a little bit. What you saw the folks waving as Gaetti made the tour around the bases. The Homer Hanky. which is something of a fad here in Minnesota.
Fastball up out over the plate. Basically speaking, if you had to categorize this Twins team, you'd say fastball hitting ball club, relatively free swinging. Gotti likes the ball up more than down. And he got one up and out over the plate.
Brunansky drives one to right, but it's foul.
You know, Bob, this, when this ballpark first came into existence, before they put the air conditioning, it was named the Homerdome, and rightfully so. And as you mentioned earlier, since they've air conditioned it, the ball does not carry, except when you get a lot of people in here, 50,000 plus today, more humidity, more heat. It's cold outside, so there's no air conditioning on. And Sparky said the ball's going to fly, and it's going to.
A jam shot down to Evans, and that'll do it. But Gaetti puts the Twins in front, and we'll be right back after these messages from your local station.
Something big is terrorizing towns all across America. Hardee's Monster Burger. 2 beef patties, 3 slices of cheese, and 4 strips of bacon.
We got a situation here. I need tanks, artillery, tear gas.
Stop, it's just a burger. It can't hurt anybody.
Good point.
And it's not alone. Hardee's Monster Roast Beef. Lots of cheese, bacon, and roast beef piled real high. The Monster Burger and Monster Roast Beef. Only at Hardee's.
Fox Sports News Primetime. Your Sunday night source for all the day's NFL action.
But wait, there's more.
From the playmakers.
He's off to the races. Touchdown!
To the game breakers and newsmakers. Want the latest? You've got it. Woo! Catch Keith, Kevin, NFL coaching great Marv Levy, and our all-pro team of analysts.
Wow.
We cover the NFL.
You bet.
Fox Sports News Primetime. Sunday night, every night.
You can't turn on the TV or radio in Minneapolis without hearing a song called My Baby Waves the Homer Hanky. With apologies to Tommy James and the Shondells, and Gaetti got him waving in the second.
The audiophile I am, I've got all their compact discs. I would go anywhere to find that kind of music.
Well, there is a lot of money at stake in the postseason.
I'll tell you, he crunched one pretty good. High outside fastball. Straightaway center field, and that ball really carries in that direction in this park.
Viola staked to a 1-0 lead. Starts Brookins with a strike. Oh, 2.
One thing Tom Kelly insisted on, and to Tom Kelly's left is Dick Such, the pitching coach, is improvement in the little phases of the game in spring training. There's Joe Niekro with the jacket on, may not pitch. He's had a little shoulder problems, but their defense has improved. They move base runners better than he did the last couple of years, and Kelly's a strict fundamentalist.
Change of speeds, and down goes Brookins. That's 4 for Viola.
That's the great circle change. He holds it in a similar fashion. If you want to know what it looks like, you just put your finger together, give the A-OK sign, touch the pointing finger to the thumb, and what Viola does, unlike Doyle Alexander, he spreads his little finger, the one next to, wide apart and rolls off the one finger, looks like a screwball. I believe Don Sutton, who did some pregame work with Marvin Albert, throws one like that and has for years.
Heath sends one toward the gap in left center. Back goes Kirby Puckett all the way to the fence. He can't even leap for this one. It is out of here to tie the game. And boy, did that ball ever take off. It was hit so hard that Kirby couldn't get back there in time to even think about a leap, and he plays a very deep center field. So Heath, who hit 8 during the regular season.
You see the expression on Sparky's face as if to say, where did you come up with that power, son? He was going to give him the cold shoulder silent treatment. Heath got him back in the ball game.
Against left-handers, they're without Noakes, who as a rookie hit 32, so you'd think they'd be giving something away. Not here. Amazing how quiet 50,000 can be. A ball to Whitaker.
usually early in the game, and that's why it was kind of strange. Whitaker jumped on the first pitch. Madlock swung on the first pitch before he struck out. The Tigers like to make you throw a lot of pitches. They're experienced. They want to see everything you've got, try and wear you down. And middle relief at times has been a problem for Minnesota till they get to Reardon. Of course, the Tigers have had a similar kind of problem. Relief pitching except for Henneman.
2-1, and Viola might have gotten a break on that call from Joe Brinkman. Hard shot. Hrbek has it. Kelly flatly says that Hrbek is the best defensive first baseman in the American League, and he's mindful of how good Don Mattingly is, but Hrbek is his choice.
Billy Gardner, who manages ball club and been in baseball 40 years, I believe, said that he's the best first baseman he has seen in his 40 years in baseball. Of course, he didn't see much of the National League with Hernandez, but Billy Gardner saw people like Vic Powers, who was exceptional, and Gil Hodges, who was exceptional. Ferris Fain, who was a left-handed thrower, but Hrbek is very agile, but playing with a pull muscle deep in his stomach, but could affect him before this series is over with.
Madlock grounds one foul. We're reminded by Heath's homer that the Tigers led the majors in this homer-happy season with 225, the second highest total for a season in baseball history. That one hit his foot in the batter's box. 0-2. Tony Kubek contributed 8 or 9 to that total of 240.
Gotta remember that 61 was without a designated hitter, as was the 47 Giants and those 56 Reds.
And the 63 Twins of Allison and Killebrew and the rest. That's a terrific point. Without a DH, makes the accomplishment all the greater. Viola fanned Madlock in the first, and he does it here. 5 Ks for Viola, but Heath equals Gaetti, and we go to the last half of the third.
Trail Dodge has a huge selection of Dodge cars and truck in stock and ready for immediate delivery. Durangos, Intrepids, Dakotas, Avengers, Caravans, Neons, Stratus, and Quad Cabs. Priced as low as any dealer, any bank, any broker, or electronic service anywhere. Trail Dodge has earned Daimler Chrysler 5-Star Award for customer satisfaction in sales and service. Trail Dodge, 1/2 mile north of 494 and Highway 110 on Robert Street in Inver Grove Heights. Trail Dodge, earning your business again and again.
Have you always dreamed of owning your own home? Well, at Three Rivers Manufactured Housing Community, dreams do come true. Come explore Three Rivers' large, beautiful lots located in historic Hastings on the Mississippi. These units feature name-brand appliances, energy-efficient windows, beautiful kitchen cabinets, complete bathroom fixtures, high-quality carpet, and more. Come let the experts at Three Rivers Manufactured Housing Community turn your dream into a living reality. Three Rivers Manufactured Housing Community and Marathon Mobile Home Sales. Call for more information.
The 1987 American League Championship Series is brought to you by the people of Holiday Inn Hotels, who salute you. Here's to the winners. We're on your way. And by RCA, the most trusted name in electronics. In contrast to the young combination of Gagne and Lombardozzi for the Twins, when you look at the Tiger defense, in the middle, you see Alan Trammell and Lou Whitaker, each a 10-year veteran, and they've been together longer than any DP combination in the history of baseball.
6-4, Trammell and Whitaker perhaps have made more 6-4-3 double plays than any Major League double play combination in history. That day in '77 was Ralph Houck, who was the manager for the Tigers, put them into the lineup and said they have no more to learn in the minor leagues. And Houck is now vice president and a consultant for the Minnesota Twins.
Lombardozzi, Laudner, and Gladden in the last half of the third. Day before yesterday, Lombardozzi was in the video room in the Twins clubhouse looking at his at-bats against Alexander. And I heard him say repeatedly as he watched pitches he took for strikes or swung through, "What was that?" Chopper toward Trammell. Low throw. Evans digs it out.
Allen has had trouble on occasion over the last few years with elbow problems and a little tenderness in the shoulder, the rotator cuff. Doesn't have quite the zip he had a couple of years ago because of some of those injuries.
It's interesting, though, about Lombardozzi. He's as baffled by what Alexander throws as we are sometimes from up here.
Isn't everybody? I mean, the man finishes 9-0. You expect those kinds of finishes from power pitchers, whether it's a Gibson or a Clemens or a Koufax. But a finesser like he is, that's an extraordinary finish.
The graphic shortchanges Laudner. He's hit 16 home runs, but the batting average was accurate, $190.
He will throw from the side for two hitters who like the ball inside of the plate or middle in. When he comes from the side, he can throw fastball. One of the few that throws a changeup from down from the side, and also the slider you just saw.
2-1. At the knees and on the outside edge.
And if Joe Brinkman, and we mentioned this earlier, continues to give that pitch to Doyle Alexander, it could be a long day for the right-handed hitters for the Twins. Doyle Alexander threw that one pitch to Gaetti up. Now he's back down in the strike zone. When he comes up and usually moves the guy off the plate.
Laudner fans for the second out in the last half of the third.
There's probably no pitcher in either league who can play on the hitter's weaknesses, pitch to their strengths. But if you're a low ball hitter, by that I mean he pitches lower than your strike zone. It makes you go after bad low pitches. If you like the ball away, he'll pitch away 6 inches out of the strike zone to make you go at it. So he kind of tantalizes you, and he can execute it.
Gladden was robbed on a diving play by Brookins in the first. We looked at Whitaker and Trammell, the veterans up the middle. Now, they help a guy like Alexander because they've been around so long. They'll position themselves and anticipate based on what he's going to throw, and he'll hit the spots consistently. You love to play defense behind a guy like Alexander.
Well, as Alan Trammell has said, and Lou Whitaker, who doesn't talk a whole lot, said the same thing. With a guy like Alexander, even more than Morris or Terrell, we can lean. In other words, if the location is put down after the sign, and that particular pitch, Trammell could lean to the middle of the diamond to his left because if the target was away, and Doyle Alexander's close to it.
Two-one pitch to Gladden. Ran up and tried to drop a bunt. 2-2.
Looking for the appeal down to first base umpire Durwood Merrill. He pops the right hand up. Durwood Merrill, an interesting story. Durwood he kind of raised Billy Sims, the great running back with the Lions, and this is the field on the old turf that Billy Sims' career was ending. Twisted his knee, tore it up. Here again, that sidearm changeup, and look at the arm speed, and he follows through so and disguises it so well. It was a good pitch to bunt, a changeup. It was way out of the strike zone.
Twins set an attendance record this year. They drew 2,081,000, and that with the smallest season ticket base in the majors. They had just 4,000 tickets a game sold by opening day.
Look at how he's spread out for that changeup.
And he hits this one to left. Gibson almost in his tracks makes the catch. A perfect third for Alexander. Now here's a look back at a very special Olympic moment.
Call Ready Golf Reservations to book your next tee time at over 30 premier golf locations, or find us on the web at readygolfres.com.
No one looks after their customers better. Tires Plus, like no other tire store.
Welcome to Golf in the Wild North. Choose from 24 public courses, including Giants Ridge, Superior National, and the Grand Slam. Golf Digest has rated Giants Ridge one of the top 10 best new upscale public courses in America. Enjoy the breathtaking views of Lake Superior and the Sawtooth Mountains when you play the Cadillac of Minnesota courses, Superior National at Lutsen. Minnesota's Grand Slam of golf includes 72 holes at 4 championship courses within 15 minutes of Grand Rapids. Golf and lodging packages are now available, so come experience golf in the Wild North.
Bigger and better sections coming your way. Star Tribune, a variety of sections for a variety of people.
Of course, in the National League, there have been some memorable postseason games played at the Astrodome. The 80 series, Astros and Phillies, and then last year, the Mets in Houston, including the finale, the 16-inning classic. Here's Gibson in the 4th. Runs up, tries to drag one, instead pushes it. Foul on the third base side.
And we may be fortunate because the warnings by the weather people in this area said if you still have tomato plants out, you better cover them because there's a threat of snow north and east of here coming out of Alberta, Canada. And it could get down to below freezing later tonight. So wear your long johns, Robert.
Sort of makes you appreciate indoor baseball.
There's one redeeming value, that may be it tonight.
One and only one. Well, it was 48 at game time. It's already dropped 5 degrees. 2 balls and a strike to Gibson.
The humidity is usually a factor. The higher the humidity here with all these people in air conditioning, the farther the ball flies.
Change of speeds again, ties Gibson up, 2-2.
Gibson really did not end the season on a bang. Sparky knows that, but he's not going to take a guy with his speed who goes first and third, can chase the ball in the outfield and left field here, which is big, out of his lineup, obviously, even against a good left-hander. Gibson playing with a little pulled hamstring. But the biggest hit of the season, perhaps, for the Tigers, Herndon's was a big one on Sunday, but when Toronto won the first 3 games up in the Exhibition Stadium, Canada, he hit the home run to tie it in the 4th game, and that may have been the biggest hit of the year for them, like Pendleton's home run against the Mets.
Another 2-2 pitch. Pops out of the glove, and he got a little piece of it. So Viola is denied, at least temporarily, his 6th strikeout. Laudner couldn't hold it. He struck him out on a pitch like that back in the 1st. And almost duplicated it here. Gibson will be followed by Trammell and Herndon in the top of the 4th. 1-1 tie. Broken bat, roller towards short. Here's Gagne. Unloads quickly and got him. Gagne had him played towards second base. He had to cut back to his right and make a backhand play.
Viola saw Gibson's bat off, and perhaps the smartest player on this team, and most of the coaches say it, is Greg Gagne, the shortstop. He doesn't have tremendous ability. He's their best base runner. You could see how he played the turf, surrounded it for Gibson's speed, got off a good throw with something on an outstanding throwing arm and very accurate.
Travels 0 for 1. Strike one.
Well, before the ball game, the PA announcer read some copy written by some PR directors from the American League, approved by the American League, saying the odds-on favorite for MVP is Trammell. Trammell doesn't say that.
Mendoza goes back to make the catch. And Kirby Puckett barely made it into your picture. He plays a very, very deep center field.
What you're looking at between those two, Bale gives you more instant offense. You factor in the defensive Trammell, one of the most important positions aside from catching day in and day out. Trammell gets points on that. But Trammell also hitting fourth will get a lot of cheap RBIs, and that's not a knock at Trammell in the Tiger lineup. That's why Sparky hit him fourth, because he doesn't strike out much. He puts the ball in play.
Pitch to Herndon.
Now his delivery has settled down. That first inning when Viola was throwing so hard, he may have even been overthrowing. The adrenaline, as you said, now he is smooth. He's got a nice rhythm, and he's still popping the ball well. He's not muscling it.
Ground ball just foul. It's conceivable, if Kelly doesn't want to use Niekro as his Game 4 starter, that Viola could come back on 3 days rest. And in theory, he could pitch games 1, 4, and 7. But a lot of that depends upon his tender shoulder, which has given him problems within the past month. Kelly flatly says, I won't jeopardize his career regardless of the series standing.
And like Tom Kelly told us before the ball game, he said, hey, look, there are 125 ball games that are a struggle, and there are 125 ball games that are easy. I don't know how a game like this of this importance, if it could be easy.
Bounce down to Gaetti. And a 1-2-3 top half of the fourth. Still tied at 1 in the Metrodome.
Major cleaning, damage control. The furnace repair people left grease all over on the carpet. Should have called the Rheem Team. Who? Rheem Team, heating service pros. Put floor protectors over their shoes when they arrive and did a great job at a fair price. You're kidding. Vacuumed up, too. Oh, I love that.
In East St. Paul suburbs and Hudson, call RNS Heating Inc. at 715-381-5793.
We will impress you when you make that call to the Rheem Team.
Friday nights on TNN, witness the rebirth of an American classic that's capturing a whole new generation. TNN accelerates to warp speed with roller derby for the new millennium. A new dimension in adrenaline-fueled sports excitement. It's outrageous. In your face. Competition on inline skates. Get ready for Roller Jam. Check out the hottest place for action on TV. Friday nights at 8 p.m. Roller Jam, only on TNN.
What a contrast when you look at the skippers. Sparky, a household name, been in the World Series 5 times, won it 3. And a guy like Tom Kelly, who could go on What's My Line in full uniform and stump the panel.
A 3-game series that Sparky Anderson managed against the Blue Jays on that last week game. There was 3 exciting games. Showed me he's a great manager. He understands pitching, I think. He knew he had to pitch around with Fernandez and Witt out of the lineup, 3 and 5 hitters, which probably sent them here, not Toronto having those 2 out. And he just kept pitching around George Bell.
Gagne, Puckett, and Hrbek in the 4th. A strike on the outside corner.
Or close to the outside corner. And Doyle will keep it out there, too. As long as he keeps getting the call. And then what happens is the hitters get closer to the plate if you're right-handed. They start going into the ball to reach the outside corner, and then it makes them inside much more effective where you can bust their bats. He's having a little trouble. That's the 2nd or 3rd time he's just throwing the ball right out past Doyle Alexander. He is not one of those who has a mental block. There have been some that's happened. Remember Mike Ivy? He couldn't throw it back.
Heath was a major disappointment for the Cardinals after they dealt Joaquin Andujar to the A's for him prior to last year. So they let him go, gave up on him, and he's found the groove again in Detroit. He's contributed with the bat, and his throwing has returned. He's been very effective there. Bouncer to Trammell. 4 Gold Gloves for him, 3 for his partner Whitaker.
There he is again, right up the middle of the diamond where Doyle Alexander's trying to make him hit it. Trammell and a lot of the Tigers were talking before the ball game in their clubhouse, but a very class guy who sent a telegram, Lance Parrish, wishing them the best of luck. And really, there were a lot of guys in the verge of tears when they saw his beautiful telegram. And you just mentioned Heath and Noakes. And they've got over 100 RBIs between them. So they didn't lose his RBIs, Lance Parrish, but they sure missed a lot of other things about him.
Kirby struck out to end the last half of the first. Hopper to Whitaker. Chest high bounce, and that takes care of Kirby Puckett, who's now 0 for 2.
Up till 2 years ago, that's the way Kirby Puckett hit. No home runs the first year, 4 home runs the second. Beat down on the ball. He had like 25 bunt base hits his first season. He hadn't even tried to bunt this year. A lot of balls he beat out. Now he's starting. Once in a while he gets in that groove. He just starts to defensively swing for the opposite field.
This one looks like it'll make the seats, and it does.
Low ball hitter will chase fastball up and in. And you might see a Doyle Alexander go up and in bad. But then with that short porch in right field, we talked about this earlier. Alexander runs the fastball away so well with such good action. He can pitch outside and he'll make him hit it to center field. Hrbek has the power to center field to hit it out though. So no matter what scouting reports sometimes tell you, a pitcher has his own idea and he'll do it his own way depending on what pitch is working and the feel he has when he hits the mound.
Especially Alexander. Even with a veteran catcher like Heath, Alexander's calling his own game.
He has his own set of signs he brings wherever he goes. So if you try and steal signs from the center field camera, you can forget it. The shakes of the head and wipes with the glove, add, subtract, change location.
Here's a drive, and Whitaker leaps to spirit. What the players call an atom ball. Hit hard, but right at him. Back after these messages from your local station.
Farming is hard work, long hours, and a bit unpredictable. But today, producers are putting together a cooperative system that's helping them reduce risk and get more from everything they produce, making it a little easier for them to greet each new day with confidence. Cenex Harvest states, we grow value.
Shell's, the legend continues, one bottle at a time.
I really love my job.
Shell's new Fire Brick Lager is made with 4 specialty malts, creating a better shade of red. One sip, and we're sure you'll stack up another.
Did I mention I really love my job?
There's only one place to get all your slammin' jammin' sports news. Fox Sports News Primetime.
That name ring a bell?
Packed with so much action, reaction, and up-to-the-minute highlights, you won't miss a thing.
Only fresh-baked highlight goodness.
Holy smokes! Sports fans, catch Keith Olbermann, Kevin Frazier, and our primetime players for all the latest breaking news.
Excuse me?
Fox Sports News Primetime, nightly at 10.
Bye-bye.
Well, Gaetti's going to be the leadoff man in the bottom half of this inning. Earlier, he had them waving the Homer hanky.
What are you? The Homer hanky? What is this?
That's what it is. It's a big hit record around here.
Well, I know in college you're a lit major reading Homer and all this, but a Homer hanky? You come up with it, man.
Top half of the 5th. Lemon, Evans, and Brookins. If anybody gets on, it'll be Heath. His homer tied the game after Gaetti had given the Twins the brief 1-0 lead. Sky-high pop. Hrbek back. Calls Lombardozzi off and squeezes it.
And most first basemen, you mentioned this earlier, Bob, would have just given away to the second baseman. Hrbek with those great hands. Sometimes they put the klutzes at first base who can't move, usually or sometimes can't throw, but not with Hrbek.
Like the rest of his teammates, Frank Viola has found home cooking especially tasty. Evans fouls it off. Viola hasn't lost at the Metrodome since May 22nd. The Tigers and Jack Morris beat him that night 3-2.
Wasn't it interesting talking to him yesterday during the workout when players are much more accessible before the game, talking about the greatest game he ever saw, the Ron Darling Viola game?
Tell you about it after this pitch to Evans. Took something off, and Evans is out in front. Viola pitching for St. John's and Darling for Yale in an NCAA playoff game. Dueled 12 innings before Viola won it 1-0. But he said, I pitched a 6-hitter and felt like I was losing because Darling threw a no-hitter through 11. Evans goes the other way, and Gagne can't come up with it.
He was trying to shuffle his feet so he could get position. Remember, on the artificial surface, unlike when we go to Detroit for Game 3, you can go straight at the ball, break your speed by sliding with your right foot in the dirt and even the grass sometimes and come up throwing. Here, you've got to use those little choppy steps or surround the ball to get an angle. And he was starting to use those choppy steps to get position to throw, and he really couldn't get in front of the ball.
That is rightly ruled a hit. It might surprise you to learn that the Twins made fewer errors than any team in the American League. Just 98. Brookins. In the air to left center field. Gladden will have room. Back to first goes Evans with 2 out.
Gladden, who has been a surprise, remember with the San Francisco Giants under Frank Robinson a few years back, he was a center fielder, had a high on-base percentage. When they put him to left field, they weren't sure he'd do a good job. But that's a pretty big left field out there, and he's really done well, and he's throwing better than they thought he could. He could be very important as a leadoff hitter. If he can get on base so they can't pitch around what they call the big four here, he could be very important in this series. Dan Gladden with his running speed.
Heath burned Viola his last time. This time a slow roller to short, and Gagne goes the short way around Verdozzi for the force. Evans' single is wasted. To the last of the 5th we go.
Today we're cooking with the world's hottest pepper, the habanero. Now don't try this at home. Few people know that milk helps fight the heat from hot peppers. So always keep plenty of cold milk.
Somebody help me,
Got milk.
I give all of myself to my art. When I paint, my skin is my palette. My canvas is my world.
My body is my brush.
Some things we may never understand. Some things we should. At ReliaStar, we help you understand the complex world of investments and insurance so you can make the right financial choices. ReliaStar.
You got to look at tonight's pitching story. Alexander dueling with Viola. And the hitting story thus far, Gaetti and Heath with the solo homers.
Two different style of pitchers. Viola pretty much more of a hard throw. Alexander more of a finesser, control, movement on the ball. The G-man, Gary Gaetti. Ralph Houck was talking about him, saying, I don't know how he can drive in 100 runs as he did when most of the bases have been cleared by the hitters hitting in front of him. Puckett and Herbeck. He said shows you how many important base hits he's got, key situations.
It's no day at the beach against Alexander, but you couldn't tell from where Gaetti was perched. It's not often that you see lovely lawn furniture like that in a big league ballpark. Bush and Brunansky will follow Gaetti last half of the 5th. He's going for number 2. It's way back. It's out of here. First pitch of the inning. Tony, the only question about that one was whether or not it would be high enough. It was a bullet that barely got over the low fence, the 7-foot-high fence.
Alexander apparently trying to get the ball down and away, unlike the first home run, but it was an off-speed pitch. He got this one out and up over the plate also. They want Gaetti out, but there in game number 1, he not getting involved in many histrionics. Gaetti didn't want to come out.
Sparky finally looks his age at 53. It's hard to believe with the snow-white hair that he was only 36 when he first burst on the national scene with the Reds in 70. Down the right field line, fair ball. It bounces against the canvas, is in play. Tough hop. Bush wants a triple, and he'll make it. When that ball hits the canvas, look what happens. It doesn't really carry him back to Herndon, and then with some crazy English, it kicks away from him. Had it hit lower on the fence, it would have taken a more conventional bounce back toward it.
Plus, they worked out yesterday, early today. He doesn't know this park as well as his own, and he has a terribly bad knee, which hurts him on the artificial surface, and he really can't get after balls. Sparky figured there are going to be more runs. He's got the infield back all the way. A bullet hit back to Brookins. He might come home. They're going to concede the run this early. So Sparky figures there's going to be a lot more to come in this ball game as far as runs.
Bush at third, nobody out.
If you get down to the 8th and 9th hitters, Lombardozzi and Laudner, situation changes. But this guy's a slugger. The only thing you got to worry about, the way Viola's been pitching, and with the adrenaline, as you said, going, Reardon's there. And with Reardon, the way he's been pitching, you get into the 8th or 9th, if Viola can't last, it changes.
Another extra base hit. In comes Bush. Brunansky has a double.
Pitch he's thrown that's been mashed has been up in the strike zone. Early part of the game, most he was off the outside corner away and down low. Had the Twins swinging at some bad pitches. Now he's gotten them up. Doyle pitched with 3 days rest at times at the end of the season, although not his final performance. Could he have been worn down a little bit? They've got the bullpen up as Heath went out for a conference stall for a little bit of time. In tight at the corners now. Looking for the bunt. Excellent butter, Lombardozzi.
He bunts toward first. Evans tags him as he goes by. Successful sacrifice.
Dan Petrie, who pitched well in long relief after he faltered as a starter coming off the elbow surgery. And to start late in the season, didn't do well starting. So now there'll be another conference to try and buy some more time for Dan Petrie. And would assume infield coming all the way, or at least halfway on this artificial surface for Lundman. When you've got a guy like Reardon, it changes the strategy. Tom Kelly about as cool as can be, as you see, but when you got a closer like Reardon's been for this ball club, you've got to change your defense this early in the game.
Who struck out his first time, and Alexander is thinking strikeout here. Gaetti homered. That made it 2-1. Bush tripled. Brunansky doubled at home. Now Bruno has been moved to third by Lombardozzi's sacrifice.
The Twins very aware they've got at least split, and they'd feel a lot better if they could win the first 2 here before Detroit.
Laudner's behind 0-2.
In the infield, Whitaker playing halfway, and that's because he has such a good throwing arm. One of the best for second base. But you can see Trammell, who's had the arm problems on the left side, even though it's a right-handed hitter, playing in because his throwing arm is not as strong as it used to be.
Foul ball. Alexander has lasted at least 6 innings in all 11 of his Tiger starts. On the ropes here in the 5th. One and two.
Alexander felt that Laudner, hanging over the plate, maybe looking changeup, and then fouling the fastballs off, came inside once. Sometimes his pattern will be bust him inside once again and try and get the weak grounder to the strikeout. Coming in again. When you see Doyle Alexander sweep down twice, he was either changing the location or adding or subtracting to the count. Don Sutton, of course, will know that system. It was taught for years, the Dodger organization, with Doyle Alexander starting, as did Sutton.
Alexander trying to finish Laudner, who struck out 80 times in 288 at-bats. What a horrendous ratio. Romansky at third with 1 out. Struck him out. That's 4 for Alexander.
It's one of those situations where you would rather have had at the plate Tom Kelly a finesse hitter, where you might throw the thought of a squeeze play instead of a slugger who strikes out a lot. And that's usually the kind of guy you've got in the 9 spot. A guy who can bunt, keep something going, or get it going for the 1 and 2 hitters with the DH in this league.
Gladden swings and misses. This might drop. It does. It's 4-1.
Legitimate base stealers on first base right now. Alexander, quick move to first and unloads home in a hurry, similar to what we saw the Vin and Jones game yesterday. The way Russia could unload home quickly to allow the catcher to get Vince Coleman.
Gladden has swiped 25. Not going. Check swing foul.
Gladden had some injuries, had a leg problem, which really perhaps cut his base stealing total down. When they knew they wanted to move Kirby Puckett into the 3 spot to take advantage of his RBI and home run power, they were looking for the leadoff hitter. And this guy came along. Even though his on-base percentage is not that high, he has the ability to get on base. Watch out.
Rick Rennick flashing the signs from the third base coach's box. Twiggy, Wayne Terwilliger is the coach at first, veteran baseball man. Diving back is Gladden.
Darwood Merrill, the first base umpire, looking closely that no balk move is committed.
And that finishes Gagne, but the Twins hit for the cycle in the inning. Homer by Gaetti, triple by Bush, double by Brunansky, single by Gladden. 4-1 Minnesota.
You are getting sleepy. Very sleepy. Sleepy. When you need tires, you will have a better experience. You will deal with good people. When I snap my fingers, you will open your eyes.
Friday nights on TNN, witness the rebirth of an American classic that's capturing a whole new generation. TNN accelerates to warp speed with roller derby for the new millennium. A new dimension in adrenaline-fueled sports excitement. It's outrageous. In your face. Competition on inline skates. Get ready for Roller Jam. Check out the hottest place for action on TV. Friday nights at 8 p.m. Roller Jam, only on TNN.
Through the first 4 innings, Doyle Alexander got very few pitches up in the strike zone and not where he wanted them. He got a high fastball up to Gaetti in the second and a home run to dead center field. And then leading off the 5th, looked like a sidearm off-speed pitch, and Doyle is checking with his catcher, Mike Heath. Was that one up also? And most of them were in the 5th when the Twins scored 3 runs.
One and out to Whitaker, leading off in the 6th. Here's the pitch Gaetti crushed.
Either little slider or that changeup.
A chopper to Herbeck. Easy chance. 1 out. Up comes Madlock. Let's see how Viola works to him. Steve Horn, charting the pitches for us up here in the booth, points out that Viola got him on fastballs, busting him inside in the 1st. Then in the 3rd, all breaking balls away, and he struck him out with that. This is a weak pop-up, and he's done on the 1st pitch.
Madlock once again having difficulty getting around in a fastball up and in. So Viola, who when he first came up was a thrower, he's now been able to spot the ball just a little bit. That at bat, it looked like Madlock moved off the plate. You can wait a little bit longer in the fastball, hit a little bit farther back in the strike zone, but he still couldn't get around on the Viola fastball.
It's hard to imagine as you look at Gibson, who's been a very prominent and celebrated player for several years. He's never made the All-Star team, not even as a reserve. Neither has he ever become the superstar people said he would be. He is a very good player, not a great player. But there are times when he can seize a game with his raw physical talent, as he did in the '84 World Series against the Padres.
And Sparky's already admitted when Gibson first came up, the worst statement he ever made was saying that Gibson is like Mickey Mantle. Well, he's got power of Mantle, the speed near Mantle's. Didn't throw like Mickey, but he never had done it.
Exuberance is one thing, sacrilege is another.
Oh. Hold on to your bubblegum card in your breast pocket.
2-1. And here's a long blast. Brunansky back. He's a spectator.
No.
It It hit the canvas on the backside.
Gibson wasn't sure either. He held up until the umpire said, yeah, it did.
It's over.
What Gibby saw was the ripple in the canvas. He thought it hit the canvas and was in play, but it hit off the facade and hit the canvas on the backside. This Tiger team scored just under 900 runs during the 162-game season. Very few teams in baseball history have done that, not for a long while. He wasn't sure, but the ball just keeps on going in this nice, humid, warm air tonight. Now he rechecks, and the second base umpire, Drew Coble, said, yeah, you got one, Gibby. Viola got behind, and he sat on the fastball.
A strike to Trammell, so 4 homers tonight. Heath and Gibson for the Tigers, 2 of them for Gaetti of the Twins.
Well, it is the Homer Dome again tonight. Maybe tomorrow, if it stays cold, no air conditioning, a lot of people.
Trammell didn't get all of this one. Gladden in left center. The homer by Gibson cuts into the Tiger deficit as we head for the last of the 6th. It's 4-2.
Have you always dreamed of owning your own home? Well, at Three Rivers Manufactured Housing Community, dreams do come true. Come explore Three Rivers' large, beautiful lots located in historic Hastings on the Mississippi. These units feature name-brand appliances, energy-efficient windows, beautiful kitchen cabinets, complete bathroom fixtures, high-quality carpet, and more. Come let the experts at Three Rivers Manufactured Housing Community turn your dream into a living reality. Three Rivers Manufactured Housing Community and Marathon Mobile Home Sales. Call for more information.
Are you a mechanic, service technician, GM experienced and ASE certified? Great, then listen up. You could get up to $4,000 signing bonus just for being hired at a large Twin City metro area GM dealership. Just think of all the things you could do with an extra $4,000. We want the best, and that's why we need you. It's in the cars. Your front end is aligned. Your timing just couldn't be better. You're an experienced, highly trained individual. Call right now and apply for the service technician position. It could be worth up to $4,000 to you.
They call it the Homer Dome, but truly it hasn't been, as you see several clubs had more sail over the fences in their home parks than did the Twins, and even more revealing. There were 198 homers hit in Twins games here. There were 208 homers hit in Twins road games this season. But it's been a Homer Dome tonight with 4. Puckett, Herbeck, and that man again, Gaetti. Ball 1 low. The only club in baseball history with 4 30 home run hitters, Tommy Lasorda's 1977 Dodgers. The Twins came close. Into center field, Lemon got a late break, but he gets there.
He plays very deeply, just as you mentioned earlier that Puckett does. Alexander got a ball into the fists of Kirby, jammed him just a little bit and flared it. Well, the middle relievers have gone down to the bullpen for Tom Kelly's Twins. Schatzer's down to the only left-hander. Atherton, Frazier, Berenguer. Joe Nico may be there, but it's not yet time, perhaps the 7th inning when Reardon will amble down.
Herbeck bounces one toward Whitaker. Nonchalantly takes care of it. Gaetti, Herbeck, and Brunansky all top 30 homers. Puckett came close with 28.
A little extra and a little more focus on trying to keep the ball this time, at least for the first pitch on Gaetti. Alexander's been burned twice by Gary on balls up and out over the plate.
Remember, remember the League Championship Series game at Kansas City in '85 when George Brett hit 2 homers off Alexander and missed a third by about a foot as he got a double off the top of the right field fence. So Alexander has been roughed up in the playoffs before. That, of course, was when Doyle was with Toronto. Held up 2-1.
Gaetti has gotten to the point in his career now where he will look for pitches, change his stance, look away, look in. It is a great hitter's pitch seemingly, but here's the time where Doyle Alexander likes to pull the string. And then fastball.
Into shallow center field this time. And Lemon puts it away. A perfect 6th. And Gaetti finally proves human. We'll be right back after these messages from your local station.
Put on your captain's hat and come aboard Spirit of the Water at Treasure Island Resort and Casino. Take a scenic journey along the majestic Mississippi. The captain and his crew invite you to join them for sightseeing, lunch, and dinner cruises. It's the perfect setting for weddings, reunions, or private charters. Get away from it all aboard Spirit of the Water at Treasure Island. Don't miss the boat. For reservations, call 1-800-222-7077.
Treasure Island Resort and Casino.
MSC now delivers your high school sports news to your fingertips. Schedules, scores, and highlights from high schools across Minnesota can now be accessed simply by logging on to MSCSports.com. Just click on Prep Sports and find your favorite high school team. We're talking football, basketball, volleyball, wrestling, swimming, and more. Plus, go in depth with stories on upcoming stars and teams to watch this season. It's all on MSCSports.com, your Prep Sports connection.
The greatest moment for me, probably the sound in the Metrodome during the World Series. Obviously deafening. The feeling that you got sitting in the dugout, the enthusiasm, the joy, the anticipation. It was just a wonderful thing to sit in the dugout and hear that noise.
MSC, celebrating 10 years in sports.
The 1987 American League Championship Series is brought to you by Acura Legend and Integra precision-crafted automobiles exclusively at your Acura dealer, and by Dean Witter, will help manage your investments based on your individual needs.
You know, Bob, they talk about never having enough left-handed pitchers when you're playing the Eastern Division clubs, whether it's Toronto, the Yankees, or Detroit. Well, Minnesota has just Dan Schatzeder, and he has struggled off and on this year. Some wondered and said, hey, why didn't they have Steve Carlton active? Well, one day, Carlton, lefty, was taken off the roster for paperwork. They activated Don Baylor to get the DH. Don Baylor really hadn't produced that many home runs, none, in fact, for them. But you wonder if that's going to catch up to them with just Schatzeder.
Another guy they could have put on the playoff roster, Mike Smithson, who struggled this year, had to be sent down to the minors for a while, but Smithson has twice been a 15-game winner. There's Baylor, who is the only non-pitcher on the Twins' present roster with any postseason experience. And, of course, he's got plenty of it with the Angels, the Orioles, and last year the Red Sox.
Minnesota with 9 pitchers, Sparky Anderson with 10.
Takes a 4-2 lead to the 7th. Just how important is this outing by Viola to the Twins' chances? Well, you're looking at a guy in Viola who has an ERA more than a run lower than any other Twins pitcher. The Tigers are barely a .500 club against left-handers, and they have a terrific record against righties. Herndon hits one softly into center, and puck Puckett will not get to this. So it's a leadoff hit for Herndon. Now, tomorrow night, as good as Bert Blyleven is, you've got a guy who's given up 50 and 46 home runs the last 2 years, the highest two-season yield in baseball history. Sparky's team is primarily left-handed in terms of power. Here's Blyleven charting pitches tonight.
Bert in a transition portion of his career after the high homer total last year. He's walked a lot more this year, changing speeds more, but we'll see what he does tomorrow.
Lemon wraps one. Gagne can't get it. Herndon will stop at second, and the Tigers have something going in the top of the seventh.
Jeff Reardon next to Tony Oliva, the man, along with Tom Kelly, almost every player said has made the biggest difference on this ball club. And Tom Kelly has used him so well. He only had 33 or 40 at the All-Star break. He said, this is the first time in my career that I've come into September and now October without a bad elbow. He's throwing the ball very well. There are save totals. And Detroit's collectively. Kelly has his bullpen up.
That's Juan Berenguer, who pitched for the Tigers in their World Championship season of '84, now with the Twins. And they have Neil Money in Minnesota as well, as you see. Evans takes a strike. So if the Twins relinquish this lead, you really can't like their chances tomorrow night, especially with Jack Morris, who's 12-0 lifetime against Minnesota, set for the Tigers. Line drive, base hit. Herndon held up, and the bases are loaded on 3 consecutive singles.
We talked before about this isn't a collection of great players. There are some great ones on this Detroit team, but collectively and the way they execute, they will make a pitcher throw strikes. If their pitchers will make the opposition hit balls and get themselves out. Sparky not only charts his own pitchers, he watches series of pitches and what the catcher calls, and maybe they're catching on Viola because maybe Sparky's charting has now found a sequence in the pitches of Viola. He's got a tough thing to pitch out of right now.
Infield looks for the double play. Brookins 0 for 2.
Now it's important for Viola to try and stay within himself. He overthrew that pitch, lost the strike zone completely. In his past, up until a year or so ago, and he doesn't do it anymore. He was very volatile on him, on an error behind him, a couple of base hits. Something went wrong, the ball wasn't caught, he could explode. He now has his emotions more under control, and he needs to control them right now.
Top half of the seventh. Twins 4, Tigers 2. Bases loaded, nobody out. Heath, who homered earlier, is on deck. Hold the string.
He threw a with-the-seam fastball, a sinker baller's grip, and got the running action, moving away, and also a little sinking action to try and get the double play.
Herndon, Lemon, and Evans lead away. Laudner the sign, Viola the pitch. 2-1.
He just aimed that well. He didn't have much on that last pitch, Bob. He was trying to sink it again, and luckily it drifted out of the strike zone. He didn't have much on it. It's not the time to go out there in this situation and say, here it is, the batting practice fastball, which some pitchers throw.
That'll make the seats 2-2. hole, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Viola has struck out 5, but none since he got Madlock to end the 3rd. Brookins has 1 career grand slam, hit it earlier this year against the Twins. Got him.
A little bit harder sinker that time, wasn't it, Bob?
You talked about the composure cited by Kelly and the pitching coach Dick Such. The way Viola will not be rattled in situations like this, as he might have been a couple of years ago. Gathering himself now to work to Heath, who's homered and grounded out. That's a ball. Gagne pinched towards second base. Gaetti near the line at 3rd. A lot of room in that hole between the 2 of them.
As long as Viola keeps running the ball away, that's where Gagne's going to play in the middle of the diamond. Doesn't feel that Brookins will be able to hurt him to his right.
One and one.
And he's got a groove on that outside corner now with that sinker. This is where Laudner will have to watch the foot placement and the approach of Heath. If he gets closer to the plate, they may want to bust him inside.
Out of play. A ball and 2 strikes. Duel continues, and he's a pitch away from walking a run home.
He'll have to make a decision. Do I stick with the sinker now and try and run it, keep it down, middle of the part out, or do I go 4-seamer and say, here it is, hit it? He may just come in and throw as hard as he can with a 4-seamer.
Line drive, base hit that could tie the game. 1 run home. Puckett with a great arm, and they hold the others. And look at that throw.
Alex Grammas knows the arm strength and the accuracy of Puckett, one of the best in this league. He plays deeply, but on this turf, the ball got to him. He went on a 3-2 pitch, a fastball, 4-seamer, had to throw a strike, thought he could pop him up or strike him out. And look at Kirby get a great position throw and a one-hopper to Tim Laudner. The respect that the Greek, Alex Grammas, has for that man's throwing arm.
But 4 singles have drawn Sparky's club to within 1, and the bases are loaded with just 1 out.
He's brought a trip from Dick Such, who was a pitching coach for the Texas Rangers, to Doug Rader. He's very these soft-spoken men who understands people along with the mechanics of pitching.
Again, in my mind, and I think in the minds of most other observers, this is the big game for the Twins. No disrespect intended toward Blyleven, who's been one of the game's best pitchers the last decade and a half. But the convergence of factors just doesn't bode well for the Twins tomorrow night. I feel they must get a victory here.
Well, the thing about it is Detroit has been weak against left-handers. You're dealing with one of the best left-handers in the league. You beat him, it's got to be a letdown for this Twins team. Although they haven't let down all year through all the adversity they've been in.
All right, Whitaker. Possible double play. They're coming home, though. And they get the force. And that was the right decision because it was not hit hard enough.
It's a left-handed hitter, and Whitaker, even though Whitaker does have a bad instep, not running as well as he ordinarily does, Hrbek showed you not only his ability to charge the ball, watch it. He knows he's got to go get the ball, charge it, made his own hop, showed the strength and accuracy of his arm.
Hrbek is one of the best in the business at turning the 3-6-3, but not on that ball as I had originally thought for two reasons. Hit too slowly, and he couldn't retreat to the bag quickly enough as he had to come off to make the play, so he made the right choice. Bases loaded, 2 out.
Plus you had Heath coming off first base, who's a very aggressive slider with a big lead, and he'd have just torn somebody up at second base.
Hasn't had even a scent of Viola. Struck out twice and popped up. And this one is flagged down by Viola. He throws him out. The Tigers got the minimum out of 4 singles. Just 1 run.
Call it autumn, call it fall. Call it time for Butterball, Turkey Perkins style. We slow roast Butterball turkey, then slice it thick with all the trimmings for our turkey and dressing dinner. We pile it high on freshly baked focaccia bread for our new Turkey Italiano focaccia. We layer it thick with bacon, tomatoes, and lettuce for our new Turkey Deluxe. But hurry, Butterball turkey time won't last long. Perkins, always something fresh and new.
I love my job.
Oktoberfest celebrations require a very special beer. Shell's Oktoberfest is a rich, crowd-pleasing lager that's only available for a limited time.
Did I say I really love my job?
Shell's, the legend continues. 1 bottle at a time.
Designated hitters, domes, AstroTurf, but one thing hasn't changed for decades and decades. Pulses still race in October when the money is on the table. And watch the sigh of relief from Viola.
If he doesn't get that ball, Bob, Lombardozzi's going to get it. But he's going to have to eat it. 1 run, and then you've got Gibson who homered off Viola the next time, stepping in with the bases loaded. So he made a good play, and he's not known to be an outstanding fielder.
Madlock, the DH, who's now 0 for 4. Randy Bush had a triple in the 3-run 5th. In the air to center field, Lemon back and over. Has it.
Talking to Royce Smalley, Gene Mock's nephew, about that dome, and he said, you know, the last 2 years, I've only seen a few balls lost. If you'd have gone back before they put the lighting, the extra lighting up there 3 years ago, there seemed like there were 1 or 2 every series, especially in that center field area.
Brunansky wallops one, but Gibson is there. It was hit hard, but almost in his tracks. Kirk makes the catch for the 2nd out. And again, we remind you that we'll select the NBC Miller Lite Player of the Game at the conclusion of the contest.
One of the big questions asked about the Tigers that, in fact, Kirby Puckett, a lot of the others mentioned, could they get aroused for this league championship series after what they had to go through against the Toronto Blue Jays? 7 games, all decided by 1 run. The total score was 25-24. That's how close those 7 games were. Could they be flat? Viola that good?
Well, meanwhile, the Twins kind of meandered into the playoffs, losing their last 5 after clinching the American League West. They were actually a game under 500 after the All-Star break. With their 85 wins, the Twins would have finished 5th in the American League East. Bouncer toward the hole. Trammell from what would be the outfield grass doesn't get it.
Plants the right foot. He's in shallow left field. He did get a lot on the throw, but with Lombardozzi swinging, getting a good step or 2 out of the box, a good jump, Trammell did all he could. His team not gifted with a lot of blazers, but the meat of the diamond for this Minnesota team has been very important. Short second. They contribute a lot of little ways. They do not yet have the exposure of Whitaker and Trammell. May never be that good, but they're not bad.
2 Ks next to Laudner's name in the scorebook, and strike 1 to him here. You know, you can see why the Tigers are such an overwhelming favorite. They were 13 games better than the Twins. The Twins would have been behind the Tigers, the Blue Jays, the Brewers, and the Yankees if you put them in the East. Back to Alexander. High throw, but Evans is able to handle it. And we move on to the 8th. Viola doesn't have much margin of error left. And let's see if we even see him or if it'll be Reardon. Off with the jacket. He's coming back.
Tropics right here in Minnesota.
Treasure Island Resort and Casino.
Hi, I'm Mike. That's Bob. We're both setting up tee times. Bob is calling around with just a little frustration, you see. He doesn't know about TeeMaster, where you can make tee times 24 hours a day online at teemaster.com. Plus, I get maps, course information, and even current weather. It's free, so spend more time making reservations or more time playing. teemaster.com. Your next game is just a click away. Or call today. Life is tough. Making a tee time shouldn't be.
My greatest moment was being a Minnesotan, watching people up in the stands enjoy what was actually going on. And I stand glad after we had won the World Series in '87, if you wanted to go out in the street and party with the people out in the street, he said, "What are you, crazy? We'll go out there and be killed." But I think that was my greatest moment, was actually being a Minnesotan and realizing what the people were feeling out there in the street when we won the thing.
MSC, celebrating great moments in sports.
Well, that man down on the lower portion of Tom Kelly's scorecard, and a little unusual, he's listed along with the left-handed pitchers, but it's Jeff Reardon, and it must be very comforting for Frank Viola, as it has been for all of these starters all year, that if we get into the 8th, we can just let it all hang out, throw as hard as we can, go after this, because Jeff is sitting there behind us. Complete games, not many, a lot of it because that man on the left, Jeff Reardon.
Last year, the Twins, who had a woeful pitching staff then, actually led the American League in complete games. Not because their starters were so good, but because their bullpen was so terrible. One and one to Gibson, who homered his last time up.
It's been a crazy year for the Tigers. Unlike '84, when they got off to that fantastic start and breezed in, Gibson was out, Trammell for a while early. They started out 10-19 and then played like crazy the rest of the way.
Since that low point that you mentioned in May when they were 8-9 games under 500, they've played .660 baseball, the best in the majors. The 1-2 in the dirt.
Talk about oddities. How about the Minnesota Twins? They actually, during the 162-game schedule, gave up more runs than the opposition, and they're here in the league championship series. They scored less than their pitchers gave up.
Full count now. At 37, he's the youngest major league manager by a matter of months. Bobby Valentine also 37. John Wathan, the new Kansas City pilot, just turned 38 this week.
And many outsiders don't get to see the fun side of Tom Kelly. We saw a little bit of it yesterday and today.
And we'll do it again.
Could Tom Kelly and Dick Such, who right when this inning started, had Reardon warming up, could they just be letting Viola get the leadoff hitter Gibson, and then you've got a string of Trammell, Herndon, Lemon, 3 right-handed hitters? Possibility, depending upon how Viola throws to him and how he's feeling if they ask. So what I don't want to do against Sparky is bring the right-handers in too soon, because he's got some left-handers on the bench.
Oh, he went to the changeup on 3-2. Change off the curve and missed with it. So Gibson, who can run, he's stolen 26, is aboard with a tying run. And Reardon wondering when the phone's going to ring.
Well, you know Trammell is going to hit. It's a hanging curveball, and not too many years ago with the inflated protectors, that ball's a strike. It's one of those where it's unfair to the pitcher. If a hitter wants to hack at it, he can beat the heck out of the hanger, but if he takes it, it's a ball. Tom Kelly is not going to be too quick to get Viola out. Not with the lead he's got. Doesn't seem like much at Slim, but what you've got is Matt Noakes bat sitting on the bench, and he would come in probably for Herndon, or maybe Johnny Grubb, or Bergman, or Sheridan, but more likely Noakes if there's a man out.
The 0-1 pitch to Trammell. Liner over Lombardozzi's leap, and on the turf, it gets deep into the gap. It'll be a double for Trammell. And on to third is Gibson. Second and third, nobody out. That's a single at Tiger Stadium.
Now he's going to have to worry over what he's going to do. And you can see it's the first signs of uneasiness that Tom Kelly has shown. He is saying, what matchup do I want? Viola against Herndon, or the possibility of Reardon against Matt Noakes? Possibility. Because then you got 2 catchers, you lose Noakes early in case you want to pitch it for Heath later, so that changes things with this 24-man roster.
He wants Reardon. Now if Sparky pulls Herndon back and sends up Noakes, they have a base open. The go-ahead run is at second now. So they could walk Noakes if he gets up there and set up the double play or the force at the plate.
He has Bergman, who is a veteran hitter, and here comes Dave. He'll save Noakes for another time.
Do I have potato chips again? Yes.
Old Dutch. When you need a great chip, you know where to look.
Anybody see Dad?
From way downtown. Bang. Unbelievable. Real
dizzy, and I may be sick.
The ERA was inflated early when Reardon struggled in April and May. After the All-Star break, he's been the kind of pitcher they thought they were getting when they swapped Neil Heaton to the Expos for him.
Fastball in the low 90s, good straight change, and a pretty decent curveball, so he's got 3 pitches. A lot of relievers, short relievers have just 2.
Bergman swings on the first one. Fly ball that'll be deep enough to tie the game, but watch Trammell at second. Puckett charging. Play at third, no. Trammell was able to tag in advance. Herbeck, as he cut it off, had an idea. So now Viola will be denied the win. And if Trammell scores, Viola, despite his heroic effort, could lose.
Kirby tried to get a running start to get an angle to get more impetus on his throw home, and he actually waited too long and came on the run and didn't get as much as he usually does on the throw. They do what they have to do, don't they? They're a real group of veterans. Need a sac fly, they usually get it. 2 years ago wasn't the same after the '84 season. Look at him. I don't know if he lost the ball in the thing, and then all of a sudden he rushed up on the ball and made a very, very short throw. If he makes a throw, he might have cut it off and got the runner at third.
Infield moves in, and Lemon takes a ball. Twins had a 4-1 lead. Tigers have come back a run at a time. Homer by Gibson in the 6th. 4 singles for a run in the 7th. And one more here to even it. Good breaking ball.
It is quick, and it just keeps biting. Years past, when the arm got tired, that breaking ball would just sit there and hang for some of those hitters.
In the air to right field, and the Tigers are going to have the lead. Brunansky makes the catch in foul ground, so in theory he didn't have to catch that, but he didn't know that as he crossed the line.
He did not know his rights. The ball just kept drifting. He was going to try and get an angle to throw home, which was impossible because he came so far from right center field. But again, what do? A split-second decision. Maybe Brunansky never even thought of it. Now, right there, it may have been fair, Bob. It's difficult to tell unless you're shooting right down the line. And you take the shirt out when you can get it. If he knows it's definitely foul, he'd have to make a decision and maybe let it go because it was too deep. He makes a decision because it's right on the line if he even thought about it. Good call by you, Bob.
Evans is 2 for 3. The Tigers have their first lead.
And what you go back to on that is Kirby Puckett, who was so aware in the outfield. When he came home from so deeply, if he had gone to third or hit the cutoff man, perhaps Trammell might not have gotten a third. But those are all the might-haves that are magnified in these kinds of series.
Two and 1 to Evans. The base is empty now with 2 out. They produced these 2 runs on only 1 hit. In contrast to the 7th, where 4 singles produced only 1. Gibson walked, Trammell doubled into the gap in right center, and all of a sudden Alexander's back in business with a lead, and then sacrifice flies by Bergman and Lemon got the job done.
The Sparky vowed late in the season his bullpen struggled. He would stick with his starters until their arms fell off. He did that pretty much in the series in Detroit against Toronto. Yeah, it's going to be interesting in all the post-game press conference. If we still got some time to go for Minnesota to bat, you can bet that Tom Kelly's going to be asked the question, why would Trammell, the cleanup hitter, up? Did you think of going to Reardon to get Trammell before the base hit off Viola? Viola appeared to be throwing the ball pretty well. Although we've gotten out of a close call in the 7th.
This ball's hit down the line. Brunansky racing over, and he makes the running catch again in foul ground. Two more cracks at it for Minnesota. They'll have the top of the order in the last of the 8th.
Major cleaning, damage control. The furnace repair people left grease all over on the carpet. Should have called the Rheem team. Who? Rheem team, heating service pros. Put floor protectors over their shoes when they arrive and did a great job at a fair price. You're kidding. Vacuumed up, too. Oh, I love that.
In Brainerd Lake area, call Phil's Heating and Air Conditioning, Inc. at 218-828-8127.
We will impress you when you make that call to the Rheem team.
No one looks after their customers better. Tires Plus, like no other tire store.
There was no play at the plate, so why didn't Puckett throw to third and hold Trammell at second?
Well, you will watch Kent Hrbek on this replay. If he gets the ball in the fly to start with, now, as you said, Kirby could have gone right to third, and you can see where Trammell is, just about 2/3 down. If Hrbek gets it on the fly, not the short hop, he may get him even at that. But he had a battle to hop, so little things that turn out to be big things if Detroit turns out winning it. If. Of course, with Herndon out, you'll see from this shot, Sheridan, defensive player, out in right field for Sparky Anderson.
Gladden to start it. Up the middle, and the tying run is on for the Twins.
Well, the age-old baseball axiom, as Willie Hernandez, the left-hander, Mike Henneman, the right-hander, you play to tie at home and win on the road, but you can stealing threat. He might take it, might be a straight steal. You might try and hit run back up the infield. Brookins looking for a bunt, so there are three possibilities. Billy Muffet trying to check to see if they're ready in his pen.
Brookins thinks he's bunting, and he's right. Toward first, Evans makes the running catch in foul ground.
Perhaps a player that executes in almost all phases as well as anybody on this team, Greg Gagne. And Doyle Alexander got a pitch in on him, a little fastball, and forced him to pop it up. The things they practiced on. The first off day, there were two before this started. Alexander, suspecting bunt, busts it up and in, trying to get the pop-up, and he does. But 2 days ago, that's what Tom Kelly had his people out here doing. The pitchers have begun hitting and bunting to get ready for the World Series. The DH fluctuating from park to park. He had his regulars bunting a lot to try and get the finesse plays down, and the practice didn't work in that instance.
Kirby, they chant. Anderson with Henneman and Hernandez getting ready, but sticking with Alexander for the time being.
He was hitting latter part of the season until Tony Oliva said, look, you're floating back into your old pattern. Start driving the ball.
And he drives this one into the gap in left center field. Lemon chasing after, can't get it. It bounces off the plexiglass. Here comes the tying run. Play at the plate. Safe. Jim in baseball wanted to do was get more speed into the lineup. Alexander leaves. Here comes Mike Henneman. But they got the speed in Al Newman, a utility infielder, pinch runner, and Gladden. The relay could not have been executed better. And the outfielder to Trammell and home, and Heath tried to block him off the plate. Gladden slid right through it, and Doyle Alexander's gone. Will he finally get a loss?
Hi, I'm Mike. That's Bob. We're both setting up tee times. Bob is calling around with just a little frustration, you see. He doesn't know about TeeMaster, where you can make tee times 24 hours a day online at teemaster.com. Plus, I get maps, course information, and even current weather. It's free, so spend more time making reservations or more time playing. teemaster.com. Your next game is just a click away. Or call today. Life is tough. Making a tee time shouldn't be.
Productivity and hard work, that's what we stand for. My great-grandfather founded this company with just a pocket full of lint and a dream, but he made a go of it. We need to be the best that we can be and continue to give it all we've got. Sharing, that's what it's all about, people. If you see someone without a smile, give them one of yours. Yes! That's the kind of enthusiasm we need, Jenkins.
The Minnesota State Lottery. Don't forget to have some fun.
Only Fox Sports News gives you expert analysis from superstars like Steve Sachs, Marcus Johnson, Phil Esposito. We have a veteran analyst for every sport.
For more on the men's luge doubles, we welcome in our analyst Torin Tor, guys.
Foten tror jag blev vilse.
Ja, det hoppar på min vänstra fot.
Får en fina kukul.
It was a perfect relay. Lemon plays the carom off the glass very cleanly. Unloads to Trammell, who has a very strong arm, in perfect position, right over Evans, the cutoff man. But Gladden slides in ahead of Heath's tag.
Boots Day, one of those who did advanced scouting for Sparky Anderson's Tiger, probably saw the same scouting reporter had it that we did. Pocket hitting more to right field, so they moved Lemon toward right center field. The gap was in left center, and in the speed of Gladden, after a good jump, gets him in. They're going to probably walk Herbeck now. Sparky does that an awful lot, takes the bat out of left-hander's hand to get to Gary Galletti, who had back-to-back home runs. Henneman, a single baller, fork ball, and a slider. Tom Kelly's team has done a lot of this all year long. Just when people are going to bury him, Henneman almost threw it away. Advanced Kirby Puckett to third base. Is that a little rookie jitters right there? He's had an outstanding year.
Henneman, as he finishes the walk. Alexander looking on. Henneman is from St. Charles, Missouri. Played in 2 College World Series for Oklahoma State, where he was a teammate of the Rangers' Pete Incaviglia. for Gaetti.
Puckett with that speed at second. Going to be looking in the event that Henneman bounces one of those fork balls in the dirt. He should get a good walking lead. He may be able to advance on it.
Outfield arms. Gibson not very strong in left. Lemon good in center. Sheridan pretty good in right. Two and 0.
Here comes Sparky. He's got his bullpen going again. He's going to have a little talk with the rookie who contributed so much out of the pen. Willie Hernandez and Eric King. King been with that great arm and somewhat of a disappointment. He's been the swing man, started early, was going to be the closer, middle relief. Henneman, the kind of pitcher, and I think the numbers showed his performance against the Twins, should be very tough on this right-handed hitting lineup. If he keeps the ball down, which he usually does well, with the slider and forkball, can be tough.
Another of the many differences between this club and Sparky's '84 World Champions. In this situation a few years ago, it's Hernandez right to the finish. And with the great screwball then, as effective against right-handed hitters as left. Right down the middle. Randy Bush is on deck.
Did it look like Sparky was squirming a little bit that time, like Kelly was early, the rookie manager? Sparky a little uneasy, you can tell.
He walked him. They're loaded with one out.
Really the same pitches that the veteran Alexander was getting early in the ball game, right near the outer edge. The rookie doesn't get it from Joe Brinkman. Willie Hernandez, there were thoughts that he might not be able to pitch in this league championship series. Hernandez yesterday, after batting practice was done, pitched a simulated game to Whale Wonder and Lusader, who are along for the ride, although not eligible.
Are you ready, boys?
Ready.
Some things we may never understand. Some things we should. At ReliaStar, we help you understand the complex world of investments and insurance so you can make the right financial choices. ReliaStar.
NFL This Morning on Fox Sports Net, the show that covers the game sideline to sideline.
He may have suffered a conclusion to his magnificent career.
With in-depth analysis and hard-hitting interviews with the game's biggest stars.
I love what I do and I do what I love.
Join Chris, Marv, Jackie, and Chris, plus the guys from Fox NFL Sunday. It's an action-packed hour that gets you inside the game.
1, 2, 3,
NFL This Morning, Sunday on MSC, followed by Fox NFL Sunday.
One of my most memorable moments will probably be when we beat Chicago. knowing that the Minnesota Timberwolves have never beaten Michael Jordan in the Chicago Bulls, and for us to win it at home in front of our fans, in front of family and all the people that love Michael Jordan. And I think that was probably one of the moments that stand out.
MSC, celebrating 10 years in sports. All month long, it's a journey back in time with Classic Twins. Monday, MSC presents
Game 5 of the 1987 American League Championship Series is the Detroit Tigers versus the Minnesota Twins.
See the greats of yesterday, including Puckett, Herbeck, and Viola. As we look back at our Twins history, watch the game in its entirety. Monday night at 8 on MSC, your Classic Twins connection.
As you might expect, the moment Hernandez was announced, the left-handed hitting Bush was called back, and out comes Don Baylor to hit for him.
Baylor has struggled in a Twins uniform in 20 ball games, no home runs, just 6 RBIs. Always the possibility he'll tuck that left shoulder into the strike zone and get hit.
Ball one high.
I think this will be the only man Hernandez will face, and then he's gone.
Brunansky is on deck. It nearly hit him. He's been hit 28 times this year to easily lead the majors. And he's got 255 career bruises to take baseball's all-time masochism award. The 2-0 pitch. The 1979 MVP and the 84 MVP, each past their peak. Who's got a little more left in this situation? Bases loaded, 1 out. Puckett with the lead run in a 5-5 game. Herbeck down at second. Gaetti, who walked at first. That's a hit. 1 run is home. They'll stop Herbeck at third.
He threw the screwball. He stayed away from the screwball to Baylor. He stuck with the fastball, got burned, and the fastball up and in.
Boy, what a game to open this series, and what an atmosphere in Minneapolis.
I thought sure Hernandez would be gone after the base hit and the right-hander would be out. But they've gotten to the part of the Tigers that has been so vulnerable, the bullpen.
Popped him up. Let's see if it stays in.
No matter what, Tom Kelly now has the game set up the way he wants it. On lead with Reardon, his closer, coming out for the ninth.
Herbeck at third. Gaiani at second. Baylor, who knew what to do when they turned the spotlight on, is at first. And here's a shot that'll add more runs. It gets in the gap. 2 are home. Baylor being waved home. They got a chance on him. And he's out at the plate. On a 2-run double by Brunansky, that makes it 8-5. Comes out to close the barn door after they stampeded home.
What a day for a daydream. What a day for a daydreaming boy.
Jeep Cherokee.
Lost in a daydream.
How will it change you? Now get all this at no extra charge. Check one out at your Jeep dealer.
Shell's, the legend continues, one bottle at a time.
I really love my job.
Shell's new Fire Brick Lager is made with 4 specialty malts, creating a better shade of red. One sip, and we're sure you'll stack up another.
Did I mention I really love my job?
Have you ever seen my partner Chris Myers do an interview on Fox Sports News? I don't know what he's got, but I mean, the biggest names in sports, they just seem to open up to him.
You grew up in a tough neighborhood. You escaped gangs and drugs, but your little brother wasn't so lucky. Can you talk about that? I know this is difficult. You're going to be all right.
Hernandez has lost his touch, and the Tigers have lost their lead. And at least temporarily, the monkey off Tom Kelly's back, who might have had a pitching change question. Sparky will be asked after the press conference, why did you leave Hernandez in when you had Eric King in to pitch to Tom Brunansky, who may have broken it open? We'll find out. 4 runs home in the last of the 8th. A hard thrower who can have control problems. Good live fastball and hard slider. Next year, they say he'll be only a starter. As you wonder about Sparky's decision to stick with Hernandez, consider this. The last 15 hitters Hernandez has faced, he's retired only 3 of them. He's yielded 7 hits and 5 walks in that stretch. Here's a little broken bat bloop. Whitaker retreats and makes the catch. So that finishes it, but not nearly in time from the Tiger perspective.
Call it autumn, call it fall. Call it time for Butterball, Turkey Perkins style. We slow roast Butterball turkey, then slice it thick with all the trimmings for our turkey and dressing dinner. We pile it high on freshly baked focaccia bread for our new Turkey Italiano focaccia. We layer it thick with bacon, tomatoes, and lettuce for our new Turkey Deluxe. But hurry, Butterball turkey time won't last long. Perkins, always something fresh and new.
My greatest moment has been to this point, Game 2 against Seattle, after we got beaten by 25 in Game 1, when everyone had counted us out. Coming back and beating a good team like Seattle on their home floor with basically 6 players, and 2 of those guys were injured. I say for me, basketball-wise, was the biggest thrill.
MSC, celebrating 10 years of sports.
There's only one place to get all your slammin' jammin' sports news. Fox Sports News Primetime.
That name ring a bell?
Packed with so much action, reaction, and up-to-the-minute highlights, you won't miss a thing.
Only fresh-baked highlight goodness.
Holy smokes! Sports fans, catch Keith Olbermann, Kevin Frazier, and our primetime players for all the latest breaking news.
Excuse me?
Fox Sports News Primetime, nightly at 10.
Bye-bye.
One more glorious moment for a great veteran, and this telecast was presented by authority of Major League Baseball. May not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form without the express written consent of Major League Baseball. Grubb bats for Brookins, and on deck is Noakes to bat for Heath, and then Whitaker in the top of the ninth. Reardon's got a 3-run cushion.
The sign of a good relief pitcher, in fact a great one at times, and Jeff Reardon, first pitch strike. Make them hit themselves on.
Reardon would have preferred to save this. Instead, Viola isn't going to be involved in the decision, and Reardon could be the winner. Two and one.
Right behind home plate, the gun is there. The radar gun, the speed gun. They use the slow gun here, and even on the slow gun this year at times, because Reardon's been fresh, he is up around 90 miles an hour. If you're using the fast gun like they've got in St. Louis, it might register 3 to 5 miles an hour faster.
Well, he started him with a strike, but then misses with 3. Looks like that one will be out of play, and it is. Reardon has what almost all outstanding relievers possess, an intimidating glare. Did you see the look of utter contempt he flashed the hitter?
Perhaps more than that. Real ice running the veins, and even more than that, the ability to throw strikes with something on it in clutch situations.
Grubb spoils another one.
Grubb can't catch up to his fastball at this point. Good low ball hitter. Reardon, with that riding fastball, has been upstairs with it pretty much.
That looks like a hit. Brunansky won't get to it. So Grubb battled him, and on the third 3-2 pitch, he lines a single to right.
So Sparky putting in Matt Noakes into the game now off a sensational rookie year.
Noakes hit 32 home runs. And Sparky acknowledges that had they re-signed Parrish, there's no way Noakes would have even been on the roster. He would have been a Toledo mud hen.
Herbeck's going to cut the gap down. No sense holding a slower runner down up in age. Not with this score. Looks like Sparky flashed the sign to take 1 strike. Look at the run production Sparky's gotten from those 2 catchers. They thought they'd never replace Lance Parrish.
A ball and a strike with Whitaker on deck. If Noakes can reach, Lou becomes the tying run, and he has some power, 16 homers.
What a wicked curveball in a great spot. Noakes looking fastball. In and down near the ankles.
They said this series lacked marquee, especially from the Twins side. This has been an exhilarating opener. On the outside corner, and Noakes is finished.
Could he have made 2 more perfect breaking ball pitches? One down and in that Noakes question off Joe Brinkman. Then he backdoored him, started outside, and he threw it right where Laudner wanted it. And Joe Brinkman expands the strike zone just a little bit and punches Matt Noakes out.
Whitaker. Madlock next, and if they can prolong it beyond him, Sparky would love to see Gibson get another swing.
Jeff Reardon makes the whole team feel better, doesn't he? The defense, the starting pitchers, the manager especially.
They were swept in the first 2 American League playoffs by Earl Weaver's mighty Orioles, 69 and 70. Viola told us yesterday, I began to feel good about this ball club, which had been a perennial loser, after A, they hired Kelly. He was the player's choice. Others had been mentioned, Fry, Altobelli, and then when they got Reardon. He goes to 3-1. Not only did that tell Viola and the other starters that they didn't have to pace themselves anymore, that Reardon was there to pick them up, but it told them, oh, Whitaker thought he had the walk, and now the count is full, and Brinkman's strike zone is expanding by the moment. The acquisition of Reardon told the Twins that the organization was serious about trying to win. He looks like it's a B game down in Florida in March, doesn't he?
Well, Andy MacPhail wanted him, and then Ralph Howe came in and convinced Mr. Pohlad, the new owner, bought the club from Cal Griffith to hire Tom Kelly from within the organization.
One on, one out. And now the tying run's going to come to the plate in the person of Bill Madlock, who's overdue. He had a woeful night against Viola. Struck out twice, popped out, and hit a comebacker with the bases loaded to end the 7th.
And the one thing Laudner, I believe, and Reardon are talking about, going over the scouting report on Madlock, saying what the situation is, and I'm sure somewhere in there they're saying one thing we do not want to do is hang a breaking ball to Bill Madlock. Make him hit your good fastball. If you're going to show him a curveball, make sure it's down or out of the strike zone. They've been jamming it.
Unless Madlock hits into a double play, they're going to have to face Gibson, who homered earlier in this game and hit 24 during the season.
And with Madlock being the tying run, Gaetti's right on the line. He's not going to get, that's what Tom Kelly was doing, saying, get back, guard the line. No doubles here.
0-2. Hat trick for Madlock. He fans 3 times. Gibson. High fastball, pal. Go ahead, hit it.
It was in Lauder's glove. Herbeck right on the line now. Again, just like Gaetti before, Tom Kelly's moved him right on the line. That's a tying run in Gibson at the plate.
And the outfielder's only about a stride from the warning track.
Nothing over their heads or through the gaps.
0-2.
Gibson way over anxious. Reardon saying you want to swing it, I'll go up the ladder on you even higher.
Reardon a pitch away from finishing with a flourish. He could strike out the side with a hit and a walk tossed in. 8-5 Twins, top of the ninth. Minnesota wins it.
Bigger and better sections coming your way. Star Tribune, a variety of sections for a variety of people.
The Sports Connection. Sports news and views about
the Vikings
and
the Green Bay Packers
and
the Gopher football team
and
the Badger football team.
The Sports Connection is your connection to all the latest in regional sports news.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Sports Connection. I'm Pat Fisher. And I'm Mike Max. Plenty of basketball in this edition of the Sports Connection.
Gopher news, Badger news, it's all here. MSC, your ultimate sports connection.
Tonight's NBC Miller Lite player of the game is Gary Gaetti with 2 homers, a walk, 3 runs scored. Miller Lite is happy to present a check for $1,000 in the name of Gary Gaetti to the National Multiple Sclerosis Society.